Hey you guys, what is up? It's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing with you 4 recipes that my blended family of 6 and I had throughout the week. Alright you guys, the first recipe I want to share with you is this Instant Pot lo mein. All recipes or links to recipes will be listed down below in my description box, so don't fret. This was a vegetable lo mein, so you could put anything that you wanted. I just had green onions and broccoli on this night, which frankly, broccoli and Asian cuisine just go together in my opinion. I have some of the gyozas, the chicken ones from Costco. I'm going to fry those up, and we're doing this all in the Instant Pot, you guys. First up, go ahead and break your spaghetti noodles in half. I'm using about half of a regular sized box, and I'm just kind of layering them like this. You will have some that stick together, just in my experience, that always happens. They still taste good and they're still cooked. Next up, I have some chicken broth. I'm adding some soy sauce to this. I'm gonna add some sesame oil. I'm also gonna add some of the garlic paste. I just happen to have that. If you had real garlic, I'm sure you could do that as well. I also had ginger paste. It's a really good pantry item to keep in your fridge. I had some rice wine vinegar and some garlic chili sauce. Now I just always have those Asian condiments on hand, so if you don't, it might be a little more costly to get them, but then you'll have them. Added some brown sugar. I also added some pepper but left that out. I'm literally just going to pour this right over the top. I don't remember the exact time that I cooked this for, but I will link everything down below. Next up, I am frying up my dumplings. First, I usually just steam them in a little bit of water and then fry them with some canola oil. Admittedly, when I took the lid off, I was like, that's way too much liquid. But once I added my broccoli, now I'm just using frozen broccoli and I cut it up. I'm going to go ahead and throw a lid back on for 5 minutes, and it really absorbed a lot of that liquid and helped cook up my vegetables. One thing I will say is if you were adding in carrot and everything, it did recommend to cook it with the noodles and to add broccoli after having cooked it. So totally your call how you want to do it. But here are my delicious crispy chicken gyozas from Costco. If you haven't tried them, you absolutely should. Guys, all I can say is this meal was freaking fantastic. And at about 9:30 that night, I finished the lo mein. I was so hungry, and it's all I could think about. And frankly, you guys know I love noodles, so this was delicious. Highly recommend you give it a try. All right, crock pot honey garlic chicken. You may have noticed a little bag of brown meat in the previous recipe, and I ended up serving that on the side with my lo mein, which was this meal that I had cooked the night before in my crock pot. You guys, this was incredible. Jamie devoured it, my daughter devoured it, my stepdaughter devoured it. It was so good. So first up, I'm just mixing up the sauce. Like I said, I'll link the recipe below. And I just sprayed my little measuring cup with some canola oil. I just find it helps when I'm using things like ketchup or honey or molasses, and it keeps it from sticking to the cup like you're gonna see here. So it's kind of an old style sauce, guys. It's ketchup, soy sauce, I'm stuttering. Garlic, all of the good things. It's linked down below. It was so, so good. I ended up adding some parsley and some oregano in here, which I thought was a little bit weird for honey garlic, but I'm telling you, it really, really works. All I did was use some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I'm gonna pour this right over top of them in my crock pot. I cooked it for a few hours and then thickened it up with a cornstarch slurry, which is usually equal parts cornstarch to cold water. Add as little or as much as you'd like to thicken it accordingly. I served this with spring rolls and rice, and I will show you quickly how I do my rice, but I will link my Ninja FOODI video down below if you're interested in learning how. So this was about 3 hours in on high, and the chicken already looks delicious. Honestly, you could eat it just like this, but I knew that I wanted to make a little bit more of a thicker consistency. So look how easy that chicken just falls apart, first of all. So I took a tablespoon of cornstarch and stirred it up really quick. You see how easy this is. I'm doing it with one hand and filming. And then I'm going to whisk it in. I did remove the chicken just to make it easier. And then I threw the chicken back in and kind of let it all marinate together. I broke it up with my whisk and let it sit there for about half an hour. Guys, we served this right over top our rice. It was amazing. Apparently I was really feeling Asian cuisine this week.
I stand alone. Show me where the ending goes. Honestly don't. I should be the last to know. We're all in this.
All right, if you're new here, I do have a second channel where I do kind of eating shows or food reviews, and I showed everybody these amazing crispy homemade onion rings and promised I would share them here on my main channel and show you guys the recipe. So first up, I have delicious, huge Vidalia onions. They're nice and sweet, and they're just always nice and big. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them to the size I want. I want them relatively substantial because these onion rings are beer battered, and then we're gonna bread them. So you want something, you know, that's hefty enough to hold up to all of that substance. Otherwise, you're just eating batter, unless you're into that. So I went ahead and separated all of my onion rings, and all of the little centers I put in a bag, and you're gonna see I'm gonna use them in my next recipe. It's actually pretty cool. First up, I'm gonna get the flour and the batter ready. I am taking about 2 cups of flour to roughly a 1/4 cup of baking powder. Yes, a 1/4 cup of baking powder, and about 1/2 cup of cornstarch. So that's about 2 3/4 cups of flour base all together, you guys. That's my rough estimate because I just kind of guesstimated that. I'm adding some paprika and seasoning salt. The Lowry's is what I have. You can use whatever you'd like. And then I am gonna pop in a can of beer. Ideally, I probably would have used something other than a dark red beer, but it still turned out really, really good, you guys. So I'm just gonna add this in. I added this entire tall boy can, and I ended up adding in a little bit of water. If you had club soda, that would work. You could probably even use 7-Up or something. I'd actually be curious about that one. Let me know if you've ever tried that. So as you can see, I'm constantly adding more flour, and just until I get this thick, like pancake batter consistency that's really going to cling on to the side of your onion ring, just like this. We're going to take the onion rings, and then we're going to put them inside a panko and breadcrumb mixture that I have here. I just took Italian breadcrumbs, plain panko breadcrumbs, and I'm taking it from the beer batter, dropping it in and making sure it's well coated. Then we're going to fry them up in about 350 to 375 degree oil for about 2 or 3 minutes.
my window.
So I actually did about half of my onions in just the beer batter, which is what you're seeing right here. The only issue I had is I wasn't able to maintain my oil temperature. I usually have an electric deep fryer, which helps me do that. So I found that they ended up having to stay in a little bit longer to get cooked, which means they absorbed too much oil, so they got really saturated. They were still okay, and actually my stepkids still ate them and really liked them. It wasn't something that I overly enjoyed, but here you'll see I'm doing the breaded ones. At this point my oil was stabilized and these just cooked to absolute perfection. It's the baking powder, you guys. Don't skimp on it, or the cornstarch. So good. I just put these in there about 1 minute on each side, or until they're nice and golden brown. You can tell when they're ready. They were nice and tender in the middle and so crunchy. I will link the video if you guys want to check it out, if you want to hear for just a second how crunchy they are, even if you don't really like listening to people eat. But just look at these. Beautiful. Perfection. Season them with salt when they get out and they're perfect.
How much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole world spin. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon.
I just set them out on a wire rack to drain and cool, and the kids just kind of helped themselves. They were home virtual learning. You guys, the best way I can describe these onion rings is A&W. If you're a fan of A&W, the seasoning was on par with A&W. The crispness, so good. I highly recommend you try these and tag me on Instagram.
We can spend all day in bed.
Comment down below if you guys are following me on Instagram. I'm just curious. I see a lot of you on there and I love getting your DMs and it's amazing. Anyway, we are making chili in the slow cooker, aka my Ninja FOODI. This chili, you guys, I will write it out below because I'm going to get too overwhelmed trying to explain it to you all in this video. First up, there's beer and there's chocolate in it. So yeah, get ready for that. Also, there's the little onions, the centers from all of my onion rings, and I'm just going to pop it right into my Pampered Chef chopper here, which is kind of like the, I don't know, there was one that was as seen on TV. Comment down below and tell me what that's called, please, because I can't think of it right now. But look at how nice it always makes my onions, so super small and fine, which is perfect for my chili. So I'm going to go ahead and put the saute function on my Ninja FOODI, add some olive oil, and get those sauteing for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then I'm going to chop up my green peppers and celeries while I'm waiting. Celeries, really?
Still holding back. Honestly, you're annoying me with the way that you keep playing. Show me your love like it is, and open my heart like you're fearless. Steal all the gold you can.
All right, first off, I know everyone has an opinion about chili, just like shepherd's pie, so you do you. This is how I do it. I will tell you, I've won awards for it. So, okay, Vanessa, calm down. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the ground beef. Now, for me, I like to add all my seasonings to my ground beef while it's cooking because I think adding heat to seasonings really brings out flavor. So that's what I'm doing. Like I said, make sure you check the description box. I will list all of these things that I'm throwing in here because it's worth it. Every stinking one of them. Now this chili has a mild kick of heat. It's not going to linger. It's not going to burn the back of your throat, but it just has that kick that after about 5 minutes of eating it, you're like, oh wow, yeah, there is a little bit of kick there. So you can see here, I'm browning it up, mushing it up. It looks so good. This is a chili concoction for a king, you guys. It's so good. Now you can see it starts to stick on the bottom. That is perfect because it's getting those brown bits, which is flavor, and it's about 3/4 of the way cooked. I'm not too worried about cooking it through. It's going to sit and cook the rest of the way in my slow cooker. I'm adding the can of mushrooms, the celery, and the green peppers at this point and stirring it all in, getting all those flavors together. Do I sound excited about this? It's so good, you guys. I'm adding a can of red kidney beans. This is the point where you can do whatever you want, but if you want it to taste like mine, you need to do this. It's very similar to Tim Hortons chili, if you've ever had that. And the trick is a can of chili. It's kind of like my starter. You know what I mean? Like a sourdough. Anyway, guys, my English is on par today. I'm using the Dynamite Hot from Stag, which is what I think really gave it a kick. A palm full of semi-sweet chocolate chips and about a half a cup of beer, maybe 3/4 of a cup. Whatever beer you got on hand, you guys. I'm using a Rickard's Red. Do it. It's so amazing. Stir it together. Stick it in your slow cooker for as long as you want. 5 hours, 10 hours, whatever you want, guys. All right, here it is, all served up in her glory. I like it with sour cream, cheese, usually cheddar. I was smacking myself this day because I only had mozzarella, but here it is, you guys. I don't know what to tell you. I know some people don't like all this vegetables in their chili, but for me, that's just how it has to be. So I actually ended up making hot dogs. So Jamie wanted a chili dog with his this night. I served it up with Tostitos or Fritos, whatever you want to do. It's amazing. This was so friggin' good. Plus Jamie had it for lunch the next day. This was a great week, you guys. I have been feeling super pumped and motivated to cook for my family, to share it with you guys. So I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, please make sure that you're subscribed. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know that you're here if you've been a silent viewer. All right, guys. I love you guys. I can't wait to make another video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now.
Get like this.